Depression affects the body in ways that would shock most people. Studies show that 80% of individuals with depression experience physical symptoms before emotional ones. Let's explore how this invisible illness creates very visible changes in our bodies.
That's really fascinating about physical symptoms showing up first. I think most people assume depression starts with feeling sad or hopeless.
Well, let's take sleep patterns, for example. Research from the National Sleep Foundation shows that about 75% of people with depression have significant sleep disturbances. The science behind this is pretty remarkable. Depression actually alters our circadian rhythms at a cellular level.
So what exactly happens in the brain to cause these sleep disruptions?
It's all about neurotransmitters, particularly serotonin and melatonin. When depression hits, these chemical messengers get thrown out of balance. Some people lie awake for hours with racing thoughts, while others might sleep 12 or more hours and still feel exhausted. And here's what's really interesting: studies show that just 1 week of disrupted sleep can increase depressive symptoms by up to 40%.
The way these symptoms create this snowball effect is really striking. When you're not sleeping well, everything else must become so much harder to manage.
Exactly right, and that connects directly to another major physical symptom: fatigue. Recent research indicates that up to 90% of people with depression experience this bone-deep exhaustion. We're talking about the kind of tiredness that makes even basic tasks feel like climbing Mount Everest.
Well, that reminds me of something I read, apparently. The energy depletion in depression is comparable to what athletes experience after running a marathon.
And speaking of physical effects, let's talk about appetite changes. Studies show that about 60% of people with depression experience significant weight changes, either gaining or losing more than 5% of their body weight. The science behind this involves complex interactions between stress hormones, particularly cortisol, and our body's natural hunger signals.
Oh, that's interesting about the cortisol connection. I've noticed how stress and depression seem to push people toward opposite extremes with food.
Right, and these changes in eating patterns affect our entire digestive system. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people with depression are 3 times more likely to develop chronic gastrointestinal issues. The gut-brain connection is so powerful that some scientists now refer to our digestive system as our second brain.
You know what's really surprising? The fact that depression can cause actual physical pain throughout the body.
Absolutely right, and here's a striking statistic. Up to 75% of depression patients report physical pain as their primary symptom when first seeing a doctor. Studies have shown that depression can lower our pain threshold by up to 20% and increase inflammation throughout the body.
That must make diagnosis particularly challenging, especially when people don't realize their physical symptoms might have an emotional component.
Well, that's why modern treatment approaches are becoming more holistic. Recent studies show that combining traditional therapy with physical interventions like exercise and sleep hygiene can increase treatment success rates by up to 60%. It's fascinating how addressing both mental and physical symptoms creates this positive feedback loop.
The whole mind-body connection really seems to be at the heart of effective treatment.
And here's something else that's remarkable. New research suggests that depression symptoms can vary significantly between individuals, with some people experiencing primarily physical symptoms and minimal emotional manifestations. This variety in how depression presents itself is why it's so crucial to work with healthcare providers who can look at the complete picture.
So it sounds like awareness of these physical symptoms could help people identify depression earlier.
Exactly. And that's why this understanding is so vital. Studies show that early intervention can reduce the duration of depressive episodes by up to 50%. When we recognize these physical warning signs early, we can break those negative cycles before they become entrenched.
Well, this really changes how we should think about depression screening and treatment.
Looking ahead, researchers are developing new screening tools that focus on physical symptoms as early warning signs. This could revolutionize how we identify and treat depression, potentially helping millions of people get help before their symptoms become severe.